Until recently, the topic of modern-day slavery was considered a public sector issue. Governments, NGOs, and the United Nations tried to address the problem with limited involvement from the private sector. Over time, however, there has been a realization that businesses are pivotal to the solution. 3 factors contributed to this shift. Firstly, the international community working to tackle human trafficking had not come close to finding lasting solutions. According to the 2016 Trafficking in Persons report, only 78,000 of the estimated 45.8 million slaves globally were rescued last year, meaning less than 0.2% of victims were being identified and helped each year. The public sector recognized that it could not solve a problem of such scale alone. Secondly, with 75% of the slaves in forced labor and 60% of them associated with manufacturing supply chains, it is clear that the private sector has a key role to play both in unearthing and eradicating slavery. Finally, according to the United Nations, the profits generated from this illicit trade are estimated to exceed $150 billion annually. If any of this illegal money makes its way into regulated banks, it's considered money laundering. Banks, therefore, have a critical interest and important role in seeing slavery abolished once and for all. As a result of a renewed recognition of the important role business needs to play in tackling slavery, 4 trends have emerged. 1. Legislation related to modern slavery has increased. The California Transparency in Supply Chains Act and UK Modern Slavery Act require companies to report what they are doing to address modern slavery, with additional laws in Europe that will include penalties and fines now being considered. 2. There are a number of class action lawsuits being filed against major companies who are accused of supporting slavery conditions in the fisheries and cocoa industries in an attempt to leverage their clout to root out slavery. 3. Media interest related to slavery has risen significantly over the past 3 years, with stories and articles almost doubling year by year. 4. The amount of funding available for NGOs campaigning on the issue and public naming and shaming those implicated has grown significantly. The private sector must take this issue more seriously, both from a moral perspective and for the business risk it poses. Slavery is potentially in supply chains in every sector. No industry is exempt. The companies who fail to address modern slavery place themselves in grave risk of potentially plummeting profits, loss of customers, and damaged reputation. But most importantly, businesses have a critical role to play in freeing millions from slavery and preventing any more men, women, and children being enslaved.